Hello there, Melrose coaches. Okay, so we are going to get stuck into our what we should be going after, what a good target for us is, and what success is come next April, and then just a real small narrow focus around what we should be going after, and this video it's going to be based around Barbarians Rugby, so you can see that at the bottom of the medium, bottom of the medium menu here. And if I'm looking at P1 to 3, we can take our Barbarians Rugby. So what Barbarians is, as it says there, is pass after one touch, and after the second touch, the game will have a condition. So the game's really scalable. So we can either challenge a little bit more to create bigger tactical problems, or we can support a little bit more to make things a little bit more simple. So if we want to support a little bit more or make it a little bit easier or easier to understand, so maybe thinking P1, 2, 3, 4 here, now we can push that back to Hoik ball or Melrose ball, where it's still a two-touch condition game, but we're just not having the complicated challenge as coaches of teaching them how and why that we pass backwards or what the offside line is. So a good place for us to start, and a good gauge of success for us as micros coaches, so P1, 2, 3, and maybe even 4, depending on how they are, is by Christmas, can they all play Hoik ball? And then we can look at different conditions within that game as well. So it could be, to start with, it could be around, cool, first touch, we can keep going, but we can't score. But then on the second touch, we've got to stop, and we get 2 seconds to pass the ball. Then the week after, if we get better at that, we can look at, on the first touch, they can keep going, but they can't score. But then on the second touch, it'll be a turnover. And then the third week after that, we can start to think about, cool, Barbarians touch or Melrose ball, where you can only pass the ball backwards from hand. So now it starts to look a little bit more like the game of rugby. And when we're moving into Barbarians touch, so on the first touch by one defender, you can keep going, but you can't score. But on the second touch by a different defender, it'll be a turnover. We can support players by making them, cool, on the second touch, you're going to just stop and play. So have a think about the players in your group who maybe need more support, and who maybe struggle with the game. So everybody needs success, and we need them to have success so that we can feed back to them and we can fill up their cup through positive reinforcement. And look, and it's going to help them stay in the game for a little bit longer and kick on as a player if we give them little tidbits of success as they go. But then on the other side of that, we need to work out a way to challenge our better players as well. So if we're playing, like, we'll call it level 1 of Barbarians touch, where it's 2-touch turnover. So first touch you can keep going, second touch you can keep going but you can't score, and on the second touch it's going to be a turnover. So if we need to challenge players a little bit more, there'll be a touch turnover on the first touch. So we're asking them to pass the ball early and then go and get a second touch. And it could be that they're only allowed to play on the edges, so they need to influence play in a different way. It could be that they can't score. It could be that they can only support off line breaks. They're not allowed to touch the ball until there's been a line break. There's loads of different ways that we can do that, and I'd love to get stuck into it with your individual age groups and what's best for your individual age groups as I finally get around to supporting you guys. So if that's level 1, and we move on to level 2, on the first touch you can keep going but you can't score. That will always be consistent because it encourages intent, it encourages us to beat the first player, it encourages us to win the space in behind and look for offloads, lifts off the ground. And then if we look at level 2, on the second touch we'll now land on the ball and we'll look to log, so lift off the ground to our support. And what happens there is that we then start to think about the offside line, so the defence have to get back on side. So there'll be opportunities for us to, right, freeze! Okay, so now when this happens, we need you to go back and get onside. And you can show them what onside looks like. You can talk to them around what a good defensive line looks like, and then as you go, you'll get opportunities to go, right, freeze! Defence, I'm going to give you 5 seconds to get into a better place for you to defend here. What does good defensive organisation look like? And then we can look to challenge our more capable players more by saying, right, you're our defensive leader. You're responsible for building a wall every single time we've got a defence here. But then we look on the flip side of that. The best place to attack on this game is straight through the middle. So generally we would lift off the ground, or we would offload if we've got between defenders or if we've got a line break. So we're always looking to push the tempo here. We're looking to play fast. But how do we challenge them further on that? So what we can do is we can look at making first receiver from the left a touch turnover. So that completely and utterly changes the shape of the game. So now what we're going after is 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 playing off that second pass, so moving the ball. And I would love us to have first receiver touch turnovers as much as possible, because over a whole season, you're going to accumulate thousands more touches for your age group if you put these into place. And look, they're just great habits to have, because when we're preparing them for their next step in rugby, and we want them to stay in rugby for the rest of their lives. And if we don't give them all the skills that are required, and we just focus on what they're really good at now, so we've got our biggest player who's developed 2 years earlier than everybody else. They're good at running through everybody, but in 2-3 years' time, everyone catches up to them and they all of a sudden can't run through everybody. They're not going to stay in the game because we've not prepared them for their next step in rugby. So that's level 2, where we're lifting off the ground, and we can change the shape of the game, and we can support and we can challenge more by adding in games within the games. So maybe wee Jimmy is 2-touch, or he's 3-touch and down. It takes 3 different defenders to stop him. So then if we move on, we want to add another tactical element to it. We look at level 3, where on the first touch we can keep going but we can't score. But on the second touch we need to go land on the ball and we need to lap, so long arm place. So we're looking at ball presentation now. So we get opportunities in attack to coach footwork pre-contact, trying to get between defenders. So look at the branches and not the trunk of the tree. Then we get an opportunity to coach ball presentation. Then we get an opportunity to coach the pass from the base. So maybe if it's 4v4, if we're playing 5v5, and like you would see in these red pitches here, then we don't need to put anybody over. We're just focused around moving the ball through first receiver, or getting the ball away, or playing quickly, or our defensive organisation. Then we maybe take that to a bigger sided game where we put one over, and it's maybe uncontested to start with, where we show them a really strong bear crawl position over the breakdown, and we move the ball away. So they're getting used to doing the things that they're going to do in the big game, and they're getting used to seeing the pictures that they will see in the bigger game as well. And then we can go, right, freeze. Okay, somebody tell me, talk to me about wee Jimmy's body shape here. What do you think about his body shape? Does this look like a really strong bear crawl position? No. Okay, what might happen if we're not in that really strong bear crawl position? Oh, they might come through us, they might counter ruck us. So like, excellent. So we need to show them that we're really, really strong. We need to stop them going there and having a go at us by saying, look, I'm in a really strong body position, you're not going to counter ruck us here. So that's the breakdown, that's that side of it. And if we want to add another first receiver condition into it, we can encourage habit and behaviour for the defence by making it a first receiver touch turnover. And if we think about first receiver just being a pivot at the moment, especially at the younger ages, then they're just standing static. They're leading with the outside hands and legs. They're looking through their fingers at the ball almost like goggles. And when the pass is made, they're just taking it and giving it to second receiver. And if we can do that, we're going to accumulate thousands more touches, and the ball is lost in youth rugby from 9 to first receiver more than anywhere else. We can get our kids really, really solid at that. We're going to not only play a really exciting game, but we're going to give our kids an opportunity to run at space more, giving ourselves more offload, lift off the ground, and speed of ball opportunities through the breakdown. So while this has been a really quick video, and there's way more that we can dive deep into, I want you guys to aim for this. I want you to have... I don't want you, I need you guys to have as many of these games, and it could be 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. And as you can see here, this last slide is a whole session of Barbarians touch, where we start with 2-touch turnover, we move into the lift, then we move into present, and then we move into a contest for ball at the breakdown, and we encourage line speed through having first receiver touch turnover, or we award points for intercepts, or we award points for IDing that it's not a really strong bear crawl position so we can counter ruck, or then we reward points for ripping. And I know we can't do that at festivals because of the age grade law variations, but it's something that they're going to be rewarded for in 2, 3, 4 years time. So let's get them really, really good at the things that we're going to have them doing, and then we just scale things back as we go to festivals. And you'll see in here in the attack and scoring, 2 points for scoring from a kick return, 2 points for scoring from a kick. Encourage this. Absolutely encourage this. So the bigger the pitch, the bigger the range of kicks that you're going. If we're playing 4v4, 5v5 in these small red boxes, then we need to think about saying, right, the kicks need to be below head height, you can't kick for yourself, and it must be regarded before the try line. We don't want to get to the point where we're just shelling the ball down the field and we're chasing it and just giving them the ball back. We want to kick to get the ball back as much as humanly possible. So this has been Barbarians. If you've got any questions, I'm going to link a few videos to our YouTube page on here. Please get back to me. Really excited for the season and really excited to see where we can go based off a really strong foundation around our two-touch games.